What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to talk about something that's personal to me, and that's how I was able to afford a Tesla Model 3 and do that in a financially sound and healthy way. So be sure to stick around to the end of the video. Remember to subscribe and click that bell so you get notifications every single time that we go live with a new video. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to get into is, what does a Tesla Model 3 cost? Now, something that's interesting about this is it actually comes in different configurations, and the price of the car changes depending on what configuration you choose. Now, my Tesla that I decided to go with the Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus because I do a decent amount of driving, but I don't take enough road trips throughout the year where range was really a concern of mine. And there's not a lot of differences between the Standard Range Plus and the long range. A lot of the big differences come down to some of the more performance aspects of the car and how fast it is. But with all of that said, the cost of my car was $39,290 to start, and that includes autopilot. But it was actually pretty interesting. When I decided to purchase my Tesla Model 3, Elon Musk had just announced that they were dropping the price of the Model 3 by $2,000. So I was actually able to purchase mine for $37,290 instead, which was a nice added bonus and a nice discount. Now, one thing you have to take into consideration is the tax that you do pay, and that will vary depending on what state you live in. I live here in Michigan, so our sales tax is 6%. So with sales tax added on, that was $2,357.40. So with everything out the door, I paid $41,662.40. Now, how was I able to afford that car? Well, if you guys have been following my wife and I on social media or following us on this channel, you know that we've been on a long journey for financial independence and financial literacy over the past 5-6 years. And so that required us making a lot of changes. One of them that I made more specifically, especially when I found out that the Model 3 was being released. So what did I do? I drove the same car for 10 years. It is in its current state quite a beater, and I invested a little bit of money to keep it running. I am kind of mechanically inclined, so a lot of the repairs that I had to make over time I could make myself. But I drove that car that literally looked like a piece of junk for 10 years plus actually. And I did that because with no car payment, it allowed me to cash flow that money that I would normally be spending on a car note into savings. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. Once again, this is just my experience and this is for entertainment purposes only. But what I did is, when I cash flowed that money that I normally would have been spending on a car note over the years, I put some money in a high yield savings account. Usually that'll give you anywhere from 1 to 2% interest. It's not a lot, but anytime you can make some money on money that you already have is a great way to go. But more specifically, what I did is I invested in mutual funds and index funds. Now, the reason I did this is because of compound interest and how my money that I invested in those index funds and mutual funds, as they grow over time, will make more and more and more money. Now, the reason I chose to do it this way is because we all know that anytime you purchase a vehicle, that vehicle depreciates in value substantially, usually as soon as you drive it off the lot. That's even true of Teslas. Even though they depreciate at a slower rate, they still do have depreciation. So one thing that's never sat right with me as we've been on our financial journey is I did not like the idea of paying for something out of pocket or paying monthly on something that was only going to go down in value. That's not a good investment. So rather than take that money and buy my Tesla early, I put that money in my mutual funds and my index funds because those things were going to make me money. And then what I did is, instead of taking that money out to purchase the car outright, I use what is called leverage. Now, I could have taken that 41,000 and some change out of those index funds and used it to purchase the car outright. But once again, remember, I want my money making money for me. So I chose to leave that money in those accounts, let it continue to grow. And what I actually did was took a low interest loan on the car. This is called leverage. And what makes it so nice is, unfortunately, during this time with the situation, a lot of banks dropped interest rates. So you could either get 0% interest or 1 to 2% interest on a brand new vehicle. They were extremely low. So it made sense for me to go ahead and finance the car at a low interest rate. That way I continue to get anywhere from 7 to 11% on my returns on my index funds and my mutual funds, while paying minimal interest on the car itself. And then one of the great things about buying an electric vehicle is the fact that something like a Tesla Model 3, it runs completely on electricity, and overall it is less expensive to operate than a traditional ICE vehicle or internal combustion engine vehicle. There's not as much maintenance, so I don't have to pay for oil changes throughout the year. The only thing that I really have to pay for are maybe tire rotations. But all of my charging I do here at the house. It's cheaper. I think my last bill was maybe $50 more than usual for my electric bill, which saves me substantially in savings for gas. So for someone like me, it just made fiscal sense to go ahead and get an electric vehicle where I could operate it for less money and continue to allow my money to grow at the same time. So that leaves the question, should you buy a Tesla Model 3? I will recommend this car to almost anyone. And if you feel like purchasing one, feel free to use my referral link that's down in the description box below. But I will also say only purchase the vehicle if you can afford it. If you cannot afford the cost of the vehicle and you can only afford the payments, you can't afford it. But I would absolutely recommend it to anyone. It's an excellent car. It rides really smooth. Me and my family really enjoy it. And so, yeah, feel free to try one out if you have the means to do so. But that's going to end this video. Thank you guys for sticking around. Remember to subscribe and hit that like button as it helps with the YouTube algorithm. And everyone take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.